Hey, 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 hey. Basically, I'm here because we kind of, my husband's like down there, and we got a tripod. So essentially, this is like a tripod test. And also, I thought the painting looked better. We thought the painting looked better behind me. It's kind of, it's not distracting, I don't think. And you can't, well, what are you going to do? Email me, say don't use the painting. But anyway, um, what was it now? Hold on. It was. I'm gonna have to make tonight's show probably a little shorter because I'm drowning you in this stuff. Oh, I know what it was. So my husband's going through, my old headshots in the garage, and admiring my smile and chit chat about that, whatever. And he goes like, you're always smiling, and it kind of always looks like the same exact smile from like when you were married up until like yesterday. It always has that same exact smile. And I said, well, actually, you know what? It does. And you're like bringing to light why? Because I've never like thought of this objectively. I've always just done it. And I'm certainly not an expert, but what I've always been able, let's just talk about it as like, another person, because otherwise I'm going to sound like arrogant or something, whatever. What I've always done, and this is not even what I teach, I don't teach this, I teach something else that has a lot to do with closing that fourth wall so you are only there with the person, and in doing so, everything disappears. Example: Steven Spielberg, one of his brilliances in E.T. in that key scene with at the table, and I've mentioned this before, is that when we were shooting, everything was dark. Everything was dark. When Alan Davio, who I've never mentioned, Alan Davio is the best cinematographer that ever hit the screen. 60 years? I would say so. So where was I? Okay, so but that's what he did. That was the brilliance of, and this is totally not what I was going to talk about. That is Steven's brilliance in that film. An example of it is he deliberately blacked out that room for us. We didn't have to like close any fourth walls or whatever. He literally blacked out everything except the camera. Like I couldn't even see anything because there was no light anywhere. That's why it looks like, like it's hanging over us. That was deliberate, and it was brilliant because it was almost like we didn't have to act because we couldn't see anything. So we had nothing but just the five of us, and a circle. So here's my point. So in that brilliance, with those children, those children, he closed the fourth wall, which is like one of the basic tenets of 101 from my teaching. And he did it. Like we didn't have, I mean, we were good, but it just dawned on me this very second. Stephen closed the fourth wall, intentionally forcing us to be genuine. And that's his brilliance. What I was going to say with the circle is everyone has their own relationship with a camera, and some have whatever, I don't know what their relationship with the camera is, or how whatever they do, whatever with the camera. But um, I've instinctually had a very specific and personal relationship with a camera, and that it is only a circle to me. It's just a circle. Whether I'm a good actor or not a good actor, I have always ingrained into my brain from birth. All I can remember, maybe it was because I started acting 6, or my mom put me in fashion shows with Saks, when I was, I don't know, 4. So what has naturally happened to me, and the reason all the pictures look the same and the smile looks the same, uh, good or bad, is because I have a relationship with a circle. That's all I have. Is whenever the camera is on me, if I am at all distracted by anything, which you really have to work not to be, if anything distracts me, is my circle. And my circle, for whatever reason, from however long, which doesn't make me a good anything, is that I have a very personal relationship with who? Just that circle. just the circle, like the aperture within the circle, how gray like the aperture is versus the blackness of the lens, and then the translucency of the lens. This becomes anthropomorphized. Google it for me, but it's only a circle. So that's why the pictures all look the same. That's why the smile is nice and brilliant or not or whatever. But I've always had this thing. The key is that because I have this relationship with only a circle, not an audience, not a person. Some acting teachers will tell you you need to use a person and then personalize, which means you're talking to that person. Then they tell you, don't make it somebody that you haven't known or haven't seen or whatever for 2 years, and say 3. Okay, that works. I'm busy closing the fourth wall. So this circle and I have always had this relationship. It's not you, it's not them, it's not my son. It's just that circle that I know. And when the circle and I come together, I have control over that circle. Complete control in my brain. I own that circle, that I have a relationship, but I have complete control over the relationship with the circle. And that's me. That's it. It's a circle. I have a relationship with a circle, and anything genuine that you may see in my acting, I do incorporate, the closure of the fourth wall. I do not practice sense memory exercises. I have feelings about sense memory exercises, and I don't want to offend anybody because it's a classic technique, only a minute part of a classic technique. So that's the circle. And that answers my husband's question, and I will see ya at 11. Bye.